Regulation E is just a few days away, and I have 5 rental teams for you guys to jump straight onto the ranked ladder with. All the pays for these teams will be down below in the description, and guys, while you're down there, smash that like button and consider subscribing as we're on the road to 3k subs, plus you don't want to miss all this Regulation E content. Alright guys, so to start things off here, we have a very hyper offensive team, and this has without a doubt been my favorite team to use throughout the lead up to Regulation E here. This is my Ogerpawn Sun team, built around Ogerpawn, Tornadus with Sunny Day, and Chi Yu. Basically, the game plan here is get up the Sun and absolutely nuke with our very strong fire moves. For those of you who do not know, Ogerpawn, Hearthflame Mask here in the Sun with Terra is absolutely busted. It one-shots, I believe, all Iron Hands, which is pretty damn good. That with the Ivy Cudgel, obviously, in the Sun. We also have the Choice Specs Chi Yu, another absolute monster here in the Sun. I absolutely love leading this up with Tornadoes, especially if I know my opponent doesn't have speed control, or if their best, basically their best thing to do to his turn 1 is like say fake out, right? Terra Ghost plus the Heat Wave into the Sunny Day is absolutely ridiculous. Flutter Mane, obviously, it gives us the Flutterfish combo here, a very, very strong lead as well. If the opponent doesn't have Tailwind, the booster speed Icy Wind here can always, be pretty damn strong. And not to mention Terra Fairy, Moonblast, and Dazzling Gleam next to Chi Yu is also very good. We have Landorus, one of the best anti-meta mons in my opinion right now. I think rock moves are very, very good, especially into, all these Tornaduses, these Ogerpawn, Her Flames, obviously things like Chi Yu. Stomping Tantrum is also really good into things like Hisuian Arcanine, Iron Hands. And not to mention Terra Flying is also incredibly, incredibly good right now. It feels like every team has 2 grass types. Obviously, you look at my team here, Urshifu and Ogerpawn definitely do not want to be eating the Terra Blast coming out of it. And then finally here, Urshifu Dark. I absolutely love this thing in the metagame right now. I feel like its stocks are really up right now. There's not that many mons running around that actually resist it. And Choice Band Wicked Blow is absolutely broken, especially when you have speed control from things like the Flutter Mane and the Tornadoes. Not to mention, I do think actually Terra Poison is a very, very good defensive type on this mon. And with Terra Poison plus, a banded Poison Jab, it can also pump out a lot of damage. Alright guys, so the second team here we have is a Rain team built around my guy Politoed with the Grass type Ogerpawn. Basically, the gist of this here, guys, is we just have a very, very strong, Rain setter. We also have a very good, Tailwind setter in Tornadoes, which I do actually think is very, very good in Rain right now. Having Hurricane and Bleak Windstorm in the Rain is very, very good. It allows you to play the Tornadoes a bit more offensive. Obviously, we have the Choice Scarfed Rapid Strike Urshifu here, because, again, Terra Water Surging Strikes in the Rain is insane. If your opponent doesn't have up the Tailwind or doesn't have speed control, Helping Hand from our Politoed plus Urshifu will just go straight through teams. Ogerpawn here, we do have the base grass type here, so we're able to hold an item. I did choose to go with the Miracle Seed here. I just like having that little bit of extra damage coming out of my Ivy Cudgels. But yeah, look, this mon is really, really good on a team like this because you have 3 mods that kind of don't want to really be intimidated. Like, Urshi doesn't hate it, but some games obviously wants to click CC. But obviously, Champao and Iron Hands really do not want to get intimidated. And right now, it feels like there's just so much Intimidate running around the metagame. So yeah, Defiant is just incredibly, incredibly good because of that. In terms of the moveset as well on this guy, we have Rock Tomb and Stomping Tantrum just to help us out with the Steel types and the Flying types that our Ivy Cudgel does not hit, naturally hit. Because unfortunately, unlike the other versions of Ogerpawn, this guy does kind of struggle with its stabs sometimes. Qianpao, though, pretty simple. Qianpao plus Urshifu is just really good. I think Qianpao is another really good mon into the metagame as well. Ice Spinner just feels so good. Sucker Punch feels incredibly good as well. With a lot of squishier mons running around, the ability just to, pick up some things from half health to Sucker Punch is pretty damn good. And then finally, Iron Hands, one of my favorite supported mons right now. It's a very bulky offensive mon that has, access to things like Fake Out. Obviously, too, with things like Heavy Slam, it's able to threaten out the other one-shots onto the Flutter Mane. And in general, just a fantastic mon. And yeah, I really love this Rain team. Also, I guess like a bit of a spoiler alert. If I get time to play the Kitakami Prologue next week, I probably will be building around Politoed. So if that's something you're interested in, guys, obviously stick around. I'll probably drop the team probably the day before it starts. But again, I don't know if I'm unfortunately gonna be able to play it. But if I do, I'll be building around Politoed, so stick around for that. The next thing we have here, guys, is a Como-O balance team. Now, I think Como-O is incredibly good into the current metagame because I do think Dragon just naturally feels like a very, very good typing right now. And especially when you pair it with something like Terra Steel, I do think it's very, very good. Basically, the gist of this mon here, though, is you click Throat Spray with your Clangorous Soul here. You basically get an Omni Boost, and then you also get +2 to the special attack stat. And then between Clanging Scales and our Flash Cannon, you are able just to rip straight through teams. We have the perfect support duo, I think, for this one in. That is the Clefairy plus Sinister. Now, Clefairy with the Violet is very, very good. You're able to redirect a lot of things that Como-O doesn't necessarily want to eat. And then on top of that, you got Helping Hand, you've got Heal Pulse, just giving it great support. I've had some games where turn 1, my opponent leads with a kind of not strong lead, and I'm just able to go straight up for the Clangorous Soul plus the Heal Pulse. And next thing you know, I've got an Omni Boost and I'm full HP. Next to that as well, though, we do have Sinister here. Sinister, again, very similar to Clefairy. It's another redirection one that keeps Como-O alive, but it can also come in the back and then come in to heal up the Como-O just to make sure it's, you're topping up that little bit of extra health. Strength Sap, obviously fantastic into the current metagame. Again, there feels like there's a lot of physical attackers running around. Things like Landorus, Iron Hands, you know, all the Ogerpon forms, the Urshifu forms. Just having this ability just to heal yourself to full HP is very nice. It's also our Trick Room setter as well, you know, because we do have a couple of good pieces that are pretty good in Trick Room, and then obviously Gacha here is just broken on this mon. King Gambit is an absolute anti-meta mon right now, and I love it. I think this guy's incredibly good into a lot of things. It feels like everyone's running Intimidate, everyone's running Icy Wind, everyone's running Bleak Wind Storm. It doesn't like, obviously it doesn't hate to take the Intimidates, because obviously you still get +1 attack, but if you can swap into an Icy Wind or a Bleak Wind Storm and get the speed drop, you resist both of them, you take no damage to them, and then all of a sudden you're a +2, you know, King Gambit with Terra Dark, Black Glasses, Sucker Punch, ripping through teams. It's very good. It also does love the support from Clef and Sinistra as well, because obviously with Sinistra, if you can get up the Trick Room and Redirection, it allows you just to get up a Swords Nest to start sweeping through, and obviously Clef can just redirect for it while it just starts one-shotting a lot of mons. And then finally, the Glue mons, I feel like I have them on every other team. They're just that good. It's Landorus and Iron Hands, guys. I've already explained them in some of the previous teams, but these guys, look, they're just good. They match up really well. An Intimidate plus a bulky Fake Out mon is just really good for a mon like Kommo-o. This team is basically built around getting Kommo-o set up, and if it's a bad Kommo-o game, the King Gambit should do a pretty good job of also setting up and potentially sweeping through. Alright guys, going back to a different version of a rain team here. This is a rain team without Politoed. This is my Tornadus manual weather team. Now, look, I feel like I put Tornadus on every other team. I'm a huge fan of this mon personally. I think it's fantastic. Clearly, you know, the best speed control mon we have right now. On this sit as well, we do have Scary Face just in case. It kind of helps us out into, you know, some potential Trick Room matchups. But also it's really good for, you know, if you're up against an opposing Tornadus, you both get up Tailwind, they want to Icy Wind you, but you can just Scary Face their partner, and it puts you in a really, really nice spot. Qianpao, obviously this mon is just really splashable, especially on something like Rain, because obviously, you know, the Rain really benefits Qianpao because, you know, it's weak to fire, but on top of that, it just loves partnering up with the mons that Qianpao wants to partner up with. And on this team, instead of the Urshifu Rapid Strike, we have the Ogerpon Wellspring Mask. Now, I'm a huge fan of Ogerpon Wellspring Mask in the rain. Obviously, I think its Terra Water is not as good as, say, for example, Terra Fire getting that +1 attack. Obviously, this one gets the +1 special defense, but that +1 special defense in the rain can be really good, especially with Follow Me. Because, you know, you can put yourself into some positions where Ogerpon is just going to sweep through for you. But other times, you know, maybe you want something like your Golden Girl or your, you know, your Qianpao really to be the main damage dealers. And because of that, obviously, you know, I think having Follow Me is just a nice little bit of utility. And not to mention, Grassy Glide paired up with Rillaboom put you into some really, really good late game situations where, for example, if a Flutter Mane is choice specs or doesn't have a Protect up, it's just always dying to double glide, which I do think is really, really good, especially because of how good that mon is. And also being immune to Fake Out, you know, of something like Flutter Mane, it does really give, you know, the Rillaboom something else it can do now. And then obviously, yep, Rillaboom here, guys, kind of just touching it with Ogerpon. This one's good, man. It sets up the grassy terrain. Again, very similar to Qianpao. It really enjoys, you know, having the rain up. And then not to mention, you know, Grassy Glide in the terrain next to Qianpao is always freaking good. On this team as well, we have our booster speed Flutter Mane here with Icy Wind. I just love having speed control, and I think Flutter Mane is a fantastic second option for it. We did opt on this team to go no Shadow Ball. And the main reason for that, guys, is I did a bunch of testing with Flutter Mane, and I honestly find whenever I have Shadow Ball on this mon, I like never click it. Don't ask me why. I couldn't tell you why I never click it, but I just feel like I never click it. And because of that, we did just go Terra Fairy plus our dual Fairy Stabs. And then finally, Golden Go. This mon is always good, man. Again, very similar to Qianpao and Rillaboom. It loves the rain because, again, it's weak to fire. You know, if you can get rid of that fire weakness or, you know, at least, you know, neutralize it a bit, it puts it in a way better position. Not to mention, I think Choice Specs Golden Go is incredibly good right now next to Tornadus. You know, you can be put into a lot of positions where, like, you know, a Terra Steel Make It Rain with specs just absolutely just rips through teams. I've had so many games where I'll, like, leave it in, and even if you're, like, -2, -3, you're still doing a lot of damage with Make It Rain. It's a really good move. And honestly, a really, really good glue mon for this team as well, because you get into a lot of positions with a team like this where, you know, they want to lead something like Iron Hands plus, you know, a Trick Room setter, or, you know, Indeedee plus, like, a... I mean, Indeedee's not a good example, but, like, you know, like, say, for a good one is, like, Cresselia plus Iron Hands, and it puts you into a position where something like, you know, Flutter Mane plus Golden Go can be your lead, and just, you know, you can nuke some things, and it's really good. Yeah, I just love it on this team. And then finally, guys, we have the Milotic Roaring Moon team here. Obviously, you know, it wouldn't be a Scutezi video or a, you know, a Scutezi Rentals team video without a Roaring Moon team. Obviously, I love Roaring Moon. It's my favorite Generation 9 Pokemon. I love this thing so much. And I think Milotic has become one of the best partners this one could have had. Obviously, Roaring Moon, you know, one of its biggest weaknesses is it's, you know, it's pretty bad into Intimidate, right? Milotic right now with competitive feels pretty damn good into the metagame. Terra Dragon as well on the Milotic. In case, any of you don't see that, I think, I kind of touched on it with Como. I think the Dragon in general right now feels really, really good. Flutter Mane's usage is kind of down at the minute. I do expect it to kind of, pop back up as like everyone just starts realizing, hey, it's just a great, 5th, 6th mon on like every team. But yeah, Terra Dragon, it's fantastic into all the Ogre Pawns. It's fantastic into the Iron Hands. It's really just in general just a really good defensive typing, I think, on a mon like Milotic or just water types in general. Because obviously water itself is a fantastic typing. Especially, you see everyone's kind of running like Terra Water as their like, their defensive typing. So a lot of these, water types like Milotic, I do think really benefit from something like Terra Dragon. But yeah, it's basically competitive lefties. It's got Scarlet, it's got Icy Wind. It's kind of like a supportive bond where, it's going to sit there. It's going to give you speed control. It's going to, fish for burns. It's going to stay alive with cover. And then, if the opponent ever Icy Wind you or they, they Bleak Wind Storm you, intimidate you, all of a sudden +2 Milotic actually does pump out a lot of damage. Roy Moon on this team, its job is to basically set Tailwind for the rest of the team. Obviously, it still does hit really hard. I do have quite a bit of attack investment in this Moon. So Acrobatics from Terra Flying and then Knockoff 2 just do a lot of damage. And look, I can't say enough about Knockoff for Roy Moon. I think it has been an incredible addition to it in this format. It's just really, really nice for, knocking off items, like especially, things like lefties, even like Rocky Helmets on like some annoying mons. Really good for getting into berries as well. So yeah, just fantastic. Roy Moon right now feels like it's in a really good position. Those flying moves, just they feel like they're very, very good right now. Iron Hands, Landorus, quickly touch on those. They're the glue mons. I feel like I put them together all the time. Fantastic Intimidate mon. Obviously, Milo and Roaring Moon's biggest weaknesses are their defensive stats. So giving them something like Landorus is just fantastic. Iron Hands, again, can't say enough about this one. It's just fantastic. If you're not running Rillaboom, run Iron Hands. They're both just incredibly good. I feel like you need one on every team. And then really our two main, sweepers under the old Tailwind here is our Fire Ogre Pawn, same set we had earlier basically, and then our Fairy Feather Flutter Mane. This is a bit more of an offensive Flutter Mane. Obviously, we're still Terra Fairy, we've got our dual Fairy Stab, but we are Shadow Ball, and if our opponent does set up the Sun for us, we are also special attack boosting because we do kick pretty damn hard. But yeah, this Flutter Mane is basically set up just to sweep through teams, guys. But yeah, guys, that's the the final team we got here. Let me know what you think of the teams down below, guys. Let me know if there's any other teams, obviously, you want to see me build around, I guess, in the future. I was really considering, building some like, Trick Room teams, maybe some Size Spam teams. I also really wanted to get a team done with Ursaluna, Blood Moon Ursaluna, that is in particular. But look, in the early format, I'm a pretty hyper-offensive player, and this is just the teams I've found a lot of success with on the ladder early. So yeah, let me know what you think of the team down below, guys, and of course, yeah, let me know what you want to see me use in the future. God, I can't speak today. But yeah, anyway, guys, that's gonna be it for this one. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.